Hey, this is Davin with our Redline rebuild updates. Today I'm working on our Buick engine and trying to move forward on a couple things here relative to our intake and exhaust assemblies as they fit to the head. I haven't installed the head onto the engine, obviously. I'm getting it all preset. And one of the things I got, so for instance, we have this Edmunds period correct. This is from the 50s. 2-barrel intake manifold, and so here's our custom headers. So this intake manifold was initially set up to work with the cast iron because that's what was available in 1950. You had a dual cast iron split manifold as the high performance function, and so these were cast to be higher. At the end of the day, they were about a little over a half-inch tall, and I've now went through and machined them down to closer to the 3/8 that this flange is. One thing I have ran into, literally, is when I hold this intake down tight, flat against there, my exhaust manifold wants to bump right there. So I need to make a little bit of a modification to my header tube here, and then I can get that mated onto the engine and we can continue on with the Redline time lapse. So that's where this is. Now, other steps that we're gonna work on this week, our truck's ready to hit the road a little better, so I need to get better tires on it. So these were just temporary tires anyway, and they're really scalloped, so I have some better tires to get put on them. So I'm gonna get these treads flip-flopped with some other stuff, and then I also wanna go, while I'm at the tire shop, I'm gonna have these tires dismounted from our race car rims, and then I'll get these powder coated, and then I have some Hoosier late model tires to put on them. We'll have that project moving forward. And then let's see what else. Oh, relative to the engine, or relative to the race car, we're going to take and mock up the engine block, our fresh rebuilt transmission, get the bell housing in there. We're gonna take that assembly and we're gonna slide it into the engine bay of the race car and get everything set up and make the mounts that we need. So that's that piece. Now, at the same token, I'm going to get the drums and the hubs separated. They're held in place by the studs. I want to add some little bit longer studs in here so I can make some changes relative to how the track is on the race car from the front tires to the rear tires. That gives me some options. Right now it just allows me to bolt wheels on. And then also I'm going to take the two individual pieces, the hub and the drum, I'm going to take them down to West Michigan Cerakote and have them clear coated. So we will see the nice aluminum, but it'll be cleared so it doesn't corrode, and then likewise on the hub. So that's the plan with that. All right, I guess with that, let's start rolling some tires and throwing them in the pickup. Well, everything's all loaded up. Time to get over to Accurate Tire and get these tires off and move forward on the projects. We can go tubing down the river now. Right. Got some new rubber. And now we got more work to do. Huh? Let's get after it. So the discussion is we have 4 rims in 4 different sizes for all intents and purposes, as far as rim width is concerned. But all the back spacings are the same, so they'll be the same distance to the centers. But fundamentally, what you would do is you would put your left side tires in line, and then your right side, your right front would stick out more than your right rear. Kind of think of it as a wider track up front. And then, so I would put this widest rim on my right front, this one with the reinforcement on my right rear, and then probably this on the left front and this on the left rear, so it's a wider track, a wider tire. That way you got to balance. How it was explained to me at one point was, if you drive a dually and you want to go around a corner, it pushes like crazy. It doesn't want to turn because the rear end is so wide and the front end's narrow. But if you flip it and you make the rear end narrow and the front end wide, then it follows the front end where you're moving the front end to, so it'll follow around the corner better. And you want the rear to actually slide as well, and that helps that. Then of course this right rear tire or rim will get our tallest tire, so the right side tire will be taller than the left side tire, and that gives you what's referred to as stagger. So on a locked rear end, the hub is going to turn exactly the same left to right, but going around a left-hand corner, you allow it to go around the corner based on having a smaller tire on the inside and a bigger tire on the outside. So as you roll, it goes around because it's a shorter distance on the inside than the outside, and that's where that taller tire, shorter tire thing works. Got all 4 hub assemblies completely pulled apart. I used the press because it just made things easier. It did not take a whole lot of force. In fact, there was a couple of them that wanted to take a lot of force. I stopped and just used my anvil and just kind of tapped them down out of there because they started to bind. And just because I have 75-ton press does not mean I want to put 75 ton on there, because what I was concerned with is I certainly didn't want to collapse any of this and then ruin my pieces. So took things slow, let the machine do the work. I could have taken a hammer and hammered them all out, but that was a little easier. I'm going to do kind of a quick final blast on these and make sure I don't have any issues with them. And then I'm going to take these down to Cerakote, have them put a clear coat on them that'll hold that finish nicely. Then I'll reassemble them, putting fresh studs in. And then I'll actually, at that point, that's when I'm going to worry about getting the inner surface machined as far as the shoes are concerned. These aren't too bad. Kind of the same thing. Oh, and I do need to pull the races out. So here's what I have. This is on our Buick Straight 8. We have an aftermarket intake manifold, and we also have some aftermarket exhaust manifolds. And we went through and had these built, and you can see we still have a little bit of contact right there. So if the intake manifold had a little more material right there, I'd just come in with a grinder and I'd clean that out and clearance it that way and not mess with the headers. But in this case, what I'm going to do, because that wall is very thin, what I'm going to do is use actually a piece of nylon to push against there, and I'm going to use our hydraulic press. Now, this is not going to be an exact science, so it's going to take a little bit of patience and some feel. So there, we got a little bit moved out. Didn't pinch it too bad. Let's see. It's in a different spot now. In the right spot. It's gotta go a long ways. Just a little bit. Come up further. All right, so with a little gentle massaging, we now have clearance relative to the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold in the really three spots it was hitting. Unfortunately, we had to kind of bang up our pipes, not what we really wanted to do, but that's where we're at. And then ultimately had to grind just a fuzz off of our intake manifold. We'll take that, we'll get it all, I'll take and clean all that up. It'll polish in just like the rest of it. We didn't have to go too deep. We really just had to take the corner off. So with that, we now have clearance and one more step done on the Buick project. The fitment on that exhaust manifold took a little bit longer than I expected, and it's kind of at the end of the day here. So I know I said we would get to the 37 Ford hot rod, and we're close. We're going to take and get that engine mocked up and set it into the car and get everything fabricated, but we'll have to wait until next time. So, hey, with that, get in the shop, get your work done. Work harder, I guess, than I have been, because I don't have any time now to go enjoy the day. But hey, if you get your work done, you certainly will. See ya.